In our last video, we left off completing task number 2 on the project plan for assignment number 3 of PBL 2. I know that's a lot of numbers to keep track of, but we are currently on assignment 3. And we know that according to our project plan that we completed here, there are 9 tasks we must complete in order to finish assignment number 3. Okay, so we did task number 1 already. We did task number 2. Now we are going to work on task number 3. Okay, and task number 3 says read why Americans lead the world in food waste article and learn about why food is wasted in the US. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to go back to my document where I'm keeping track of my completed tasks. So notice task 1 I completed, task 2 I completed, I copied and pasted the article and took notes for myself here. And now I'm going to begin working on task 3, right? Reading the article, Why Americans Lead the World in Food Waste. And I'm going to learn about why food's wasted in the US. So in order to access this article, I need to go back to the 6th grade PBL 2 document, and I need to scroll to page 6. This is where I left off before, and the link is here, Why Americans Lead the World in Food Waste. So I'm going to click on this link, and notice this is a PDF document. I'm not sure it will let me copy and paste directly from here yet. It's not allowing me to do that, so I may need to actually download it to see what will happen. So I'm going to download it and I'm going to try to copy. Okay, now I'm able to actually copy and paste it. So notice when you click the link from here, it'll open up in a PDF, but you're not able to copy and paste on the PDF. So you actually have to go to this icon and download it, and then it'll appear in the bottom of the screen. Once you open it, it'll open it in this version. And this will allow you to copy and paste to read the article, right? And the reason that I copy and paste is because I like to take notes while I'm reading and keep track of what I'm reading. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do just like before with the last article. I'm going to copy it and paste it into the document where I'm keeping track of my completed assignments. So I'm going to continue to do the same thing. I'm going to just copy and paste piece by piece. Okay. Let's see, this looks like it is a pretty long article, you guys. So be prepared. And notice I may not want things like the date right here and this part in the header. I don't want that copied, so I'm going to have to copy a little bit less at a time. So I'm just going to copy these first 2 paragraphs to start. Hopefully it doesn't format too crazy. Okay, so it does. It formats a little bit crazy. That means I'm going to have to do a little bit of work to reformat it. So when I copy and paste it, I want to make sure that my alignment is to the left so that I can get it to look as much like the article as possible. So notice the first paragraph starts with Americans. When I go back, the second paragraph starts with what causes this. So I'm going to have to find that. It's right here. And I'm going to indent right there. And then I left off with the word that. So I need to go and copy and paste the rest here. So I'm just able to kind of copy and paste until I get to the bottom because I don't want to copy and paste the header. I'm going to just stop at year. I'm going to copy and paste there. So again, notice I have to do the formatting myself. So I need to go back to the article. I wasn't trying to do that. Let's go back. Okay, so go back to the article. Discolor that, and that ends at trillion. So I need to find that word. It's right here. So this is where my next paragraph will start. And then that paragraph ends at her. which is right here. And then the next paragraph ends at standards, which is right here. And then the next paragraph after that ends with technology and then room. Technology and room. And then we have ends with set. And then I need to go back and copy the rest of the document, starting on page 3. So I'm going to copy all of this. This is just allows me to organize and set up what I'm going to read before I read it. Notice you don't need all this. This is all just blank stuff. It's just extra. So really, even though the article says 6 pages, it's really not 6 pages long, which is a relief. It means we don't have as much to read as we thought. So I'm going to go back and put in my breaks here. So we had that paragraph ends at magazines. So I'm going to find the word magazines right here, and I'm going to indent. The next paragraph ends at discount. So I'm going to find the word discount. And it's right here. Then we have elsewhere ends at problematic. That's right here. And then we have the United States ends with. So that's the end of the article. Yep. All right, so now I've copied and pasted the whole article. I don't like to read with my spacing super close, single spaced. So I'm gonna just put a little bit of space between by going to line spacing, and I'm going to select 1.5. That'll make it a little bit easier to read. So here is the article, Why Americans Lead the World in Food Waste. I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna learn about why food is wasted in the US. This will help me to be able to think about how I can solve a problem, because this is going to tell me about the problem. And so for my business idea and my pitch, I'm supposed to be solving the problem that's outlined in this article. So I have to read the article to understand the problem. So the headline says, calories are cheap and people are picky. So that should have something to do with the problem. One of the problems is that calories are cheap and then people are picky. So let's see, how are we going to solve these problems? So the article says, Americans waste an unfathomable amount of food. In fact, according to a Guardian report released this week, roughly 50% of all produce in the US is thrown away, some 60 million tons, or 160 billion worth of produce annually, an amount constituting 1/3 of all foodstuffs. So that's similar to what we read in the other article. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that fact so that when I'm coming back, I don't have to reread the whole article again. Okay, an amount constituting about 1/3. Wasted food is also the single biggest occupant in American landfills, the Environmental Protection Agency has found. So a landfill is like a big pile of garbage, basically. And in most of the American landfills is food. That's what we find a lot of. So that's interesting to note as well. I'm going to go ahead and it's not plastic. It's not, metals or furniture or wood. It's food. What causes this? A major reason is that food is cheaper in the United States than nearly anywhere else in the world. That's really interesting. I wonder why. Let's see if the article is going to tell us. Aided controversially by subsidies to corn, wheat, milk, and soybeans. But the great American squandering of produce appears to be a cultural dynamic as well, enabled in large part by a national obsession with the aesthetic quality of food. Fruits and vegetables, in addition to generally being healthful, have a tendency to bruise, brown, wilt, oxidize, ding, or discolor. And that is apparently something American shoppers will not abide. So we just, like the header said, right, we're picky. We don't like for anything to happen to our food. We don't like it to have a bruise. We don't like it to be brown or to wilt or to change colors. So this is important, right? We are picky, and I'm going to make a note of that. So American shoppers are picky when it comes to food. I'm going to say buying food, okay? For an American family of 4, the average value of discarded produce is nearly $1,600 annually. Can you imagine in the average family, we throw away $1,600 just in food? That's a lot of money for one family to throw away. Writing about food waste for E-Atlantic back in 2014, Elizabeth Segrin gestured at both shoppers who refused to buy imperfect-looking fruit, as well as the grocers who refused to stock the shelves with any wonky-looking wares. Grocery stores routinely trash produce for being the wrong shape or containing minor blemishes. So basically they're saying grocery stores are not helping the problem, right? You're just as easily supporting people who are picky by not selling it or not putting it on the shelves. But that assumes such produce even reaches the stores. Quoting workers and experts at a variety of vantage points in the food system, eGuardian's Suzanne Goldberg also reports that vast quantities of fresh produce grown in the U.S. are left in the Eld to rot, fed to livestock, or hauled directly from the Eld to landfill because of unrealistic and unyielding cosmetic standards. So here, the food doesn't even make it to the grocery store in some instances. It's not even given the opportunity to be shown to customers to purchase. So let me make a note of that. In some cases, ugly foods okay. In my mind, the desire for perfect produce came about in the 1940s as housewives adapted to widespread refrigeration and new CPG, consumer packaged goods, products. Eve Turrell Paul, the author of A Taste of Generation Yum, writes in an email, "Suddenly you could get a pineapple in Chicago in January. Wonder Bread hit shelves a decade before. Perfection and manicured foods came to represent safety and new technology." So this is something that happened in the 1940s that attributes why people were so quick to just throw foods away or discard foods, because you could get it so easily, right? It doesn't matter the season. The way that we buy foods and ship foods from different states to be able to access it in other places very quickly made it so that we could just buy what we wanted when we wanted. So if you throw something away, you can just go buy something else tomorrow. And that's contributing to why people are throwing foods away, because it's just so easy to get. It's easy to see how this obsession might become amplified. It's supposed to be amplified. Yes, amplified. In an era of high foodieism and Instagram, where sort of heirloom airbrushing has taken hold. Writing in E-Times in 2014, Pete Wells christened the extension of this phenomenon in restaurants as camera cuisine. So this is very interesting because this was also a turn of events, where dishes are tailored for the patron as well as the global club whose members checking out their phones or laptops constitute an invisible gallery in the dining room. So here, people want to take pictures of pretty looking food, right, to post on their social media. So this also has to do with why ugly foods are not as valued or desired by consumers. All right, in the next video, we're going to pick up finishing this article and kind of doing an overview of what we've learned about why food is wasted in the US. So be sure to